Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be touring Maleficent's castle from Sleeping Beauty. This is a recently completed speed build and actually the last build of Forgotten Hollow for the Disney save. So a lot of you had requested a tour. I kind of was debating on whether or not I was going to tour this lot because, to be honest, it's a very sort of scattered, layered lot. It's not going to tour as smoothly as some of the other builds have in the past, but nevertheless, a lot of you had asked for it, so we are going to be touring it today, and I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Definitely make sure you check out both the speed build and the creative sim so that you don't ruin any spoilers in today's tour, but we'll be able to get into maybe a little bit more detail than some of the speed build was able to show by doing the tour today. So let's get into it. So something that I want to point out right off the bat is that this lot is a little bit smaller than I probably would have liked for a castle of this size. So when you think about Maleficent's castle, you're thinking about the sort of long winding path up to the castle, and there's like this big arcing bridge. I'll insert a photo if I can to help explain this a little bit better, that goes over like a pit of some kind. This is very typical in Disney castles, especially villain ones. And it's something that if I had more space for it, if maybe the lots weren't so restricting, obviously it would be something I would love to include, maybe do some terrain, some other stuff. And I am primarily saving some of the largest lots in this game for Disney princess castles. So if we want to include castles like this, I sort of have to size them down and make do with what we have given like lot restrictions and all of that. So this is sort of like the condensed version of the top part of the castle. And the way that you would normally enter is over this big pathway that would sort of arc over the cavern like I mentioned, but for me I obviously have to make it super accessible for Sims. So we have a staircase that is kind of hidden amongst these rocks. Now don't worry, these rocks are actually debug rocks, which means your Sims don't register them as objects and they will actually walk right through it. I haven't had an opportunity to test this entire castle yet to make sure that it is completely spotlessly working correctly, but I do know that Maleficent was able to get up these steps no problem. Once you do get up these sort of encased stairs, and they were meant to look very hidden because the castle itself does not really show a staircase, so to me it makes more sense to kind of hide them behind rocks anyway. Once you get up it, you are greeted with the first door. This platformed little tower here is sort of just for decoration. There is a little bit of area along the outside, but this is also very much like Horn King's castle in that it's very broken down, it is old, it probably looked like a much different castle at a different point in time, so just something to keep in mind, that maybe you'll have some more like cracks in the wall, some more broken sort of bits. Now the first entry area, again, just sort of decoration. You're greeted with the dragon, the stone, well actually it's wood, but the stone dragon to sort of represent some bits from the movie. You'll notice that the entire castle has like a purpley and green glow. That is obviously very intentional. And then these little bump out caverns are obviously more just sort of decoration. Although we didn't get too many close-up references of the castle, I was able to see that there were almost two entryways. So there is like this preliminary one, and then you go through a second one. So you'll be greeted with another set of stairs. So again, once you exit that door, you will be greeted with another stairway that again is sort of encased by these rocks that are from Island Living. Once you go up these, you enter the main throne room. I do want to apologize, there is quite a bit of noise going on around outside, of course, the day that I decided to do this, so hopefully not too much of it is picking up. But if you go up the staircase, you are greeted with the main throne room, and this is actually one of the only rooms that we get a lot of really great reference for in the movie. So this is shown in the movie as being this really big open area that maybe looks out into the stars, and I originally had placed a cauldron here. That was in the speed build, but I did have to remove it. And then you have the throne. So we don't really have thrones in The Sims, but I do try to make do with what we have. So that is actually a bench from the outdoor retreat pack or get together, one of the two. So you can come up the platforms and she can sit on her throne, and this is just sort of serving for that purpose. Again, not everything that you're seeing has been play tested, so things might get moved a little bit here and there, but for the most part, this is generally how it's going to go. And we're going to have a little bit of issues here trying to tour this because it's just so small, but I'll zoom out in a second just so that you guys can see. So you can actually go around through here. There is like a little archway and all of that to be able to pass through here. To get to the side sort of gates on the edge here, but again, it's all just kind of for show. A lot of this upper portion of the castle is really just for looks to resemble most of Sleeping Beauty that I possibly could. What's going to be the main area is the livable area downstairs that contains a lot of like the Sims required stuff. So we will obviously go down there and tour that, but just so that you can get an overhead view of kind of what this little throne area looks like, which I personally feel like is the best way to view this. And again, I tried to make use of the platforming system in here, so it's a little buggy. The platform system is like not the most functional, awesome thing that they have ever put in. Unfortunately, it just kind of doesn't always work all the time, but this cut out area and the sort of layering of the towers was very prevalent. And actually, if you put the walls down, you can see that these are just giant towers. So these aren't actually extra rooms. I didn't feel like it was super necessary to make them into rooms because it would have been difficult to get there and move around in and all of that. So other than that, we have these towers in the back. There are 4. The big one in the furthest back is actually, I think, the most functional. So the idea was that Maleficent would be able to sort of hop around her castle and teleport because she is going to be the most powerful evil spellcaster in the save file. So the towers are lifted at different heights, but the rooms are very small and they're sort of just kind of only accessible if you are able to teleport. So a lot of it was just decor. This, for example, might be her broom and sort of how she keeps it, and maybe even like a landing platform where she's able to use this to jump out and sort of use her broom to fly away. Again, I don't know how functional that's going to be for the purposes of The Sims, but I just thought for lore and all that, it would be a cute little idea. This had a lot of the natural landscaping sort of peeking into the walls, which, like I mentioned for Horn King's castle, I didn't hate that idea because I do feel like that sort of makes the ambiance and the sort of like gothic, decrepit look of the castle feel really cool and organic. So I just decided to put a fire pit in here. You could light the fire pit green if you wanted it to be like even more festive, but again, mostly just like decor, not a super functional space. Another decor little dragon in this tower. And like I mentioned, this back tower, which again, these are going to be a little bit hard to tour. As you can see, my screen is jumping out around quite a bit, and that's actually because of the leveling that I've done in The Sims. For some reason, the camera likes to kind of bounce around if you do a little bit too much leveling. But let me see if I can get a first-person perspective on this room real quick. So this isn't going to be the greatest view, but just so that you can kind of see, I figured that this could be used for Maleficent to make some potions or do some spellcasting if she wanted to. Again, very crammed in here. The fireplace is not going to be the most functional thing, but when I decorated these towers, I really was not intending them to get used very much. So it's mostly just for, I think, decoration, and there is a couple of functional cauldrons downstairs. So if you want to be able to use her full maxed out spellcasting powers, don't worry about that. She has more space to be able to do so. And the floor actually right above this one is a bedroom. So this was basically just so that I could say on the gallery that this giant castle wasn't a 1-bedroom, although it very much is, and it is intended for basically just Maleficent to live here. There is a double bed downstairs, so if you wanted to couple up her with somebody, you could definitely do so. But I wanted to give a couple of extra bedroom spaces if maybe you have a servant or two that you want to move in. I'm just trying to think about like what other people's gameplay might be when it comes to using Maleficent, or if you want to trap somebody in this tower, but you want to keep all of the things that they would sort of need to survive minus food. We have a bedroom here, and then there's actually a secondary bedroom over here. So in total, 3-bedroom castle. Now, if you go back to the entryway, down here where the stairs were, you will notice that there is sort of this lone tower. This was actually shown in the screenshots that I was looking at, that there is like this one tower off to the far side by itself. Not quite sure what it is, could have just been for the aesthetic, but I decided that this was going to be the entrance to the downstairs. And of course we're using a ladder, which does limit children being able to enter down here and pets, but probably for their own good, if I'm being honest. So we have a ladder that goes straight down, and then we can finally tour just so that you can kind of get a look at this tower as well. But we can finally get a look at the downstairs portion, which is really the bulk of the castle, I feel like. And again, when it comes to doing castles like this, I really have to think about, what does this look like from the outside? How can I make this look as close to the movie as possible in like a Sims version? And then that sometimes doesn't leave the greatest space for me to be able to put everything in here. Even like her bedroom in the movie is sort of displayed as being in this back tower, which again is why I did the reference to the bedroom here. But if I want to give her this grand, beautiful bedroom with this sort of like spooky twist to it, I just needed a little bit more space. So if we go downstairs, and I will go into the tour mode perspective for this, you will see that we have these long corridors that are sort of bunched together by doors, but also opened in like an archway format. So you can exit through either of the two doors in here, and it's going to have the same result. You're going to be greeted with this big open area that sort of just goes around in one big square. And depending on which direction you go, you will get to different locations. So when you exit immediately, this main door here, sorry it is moving so fast. Sometimes it does that, sometimes it does not. This is Maleficent's actual bedroom. And I absolutely love how this came out. I was able to do a platform bed here. I will go up in the overhead view in a moment so that you can see it maybe a little bit better. But I was able to do a platform bed in here. She's got her own private fireplace. And she has this... Yes, the baby bassinet, which actually AJ, one of my patrons, had shouted out as a reference to the live action movie to have this put in here. But it's a very spellcaster themed room. It's got this gorgeous, one of my favorite like little sleeping areas in the save so far. We'll definitely use this idea again for like Disney princesses and stuff, but I absolutely love how this turned out with the green orbs and the big archway over the bed and the statues and all that. And we have like candle lighting in here. It's very themed. It's beautiful. I'm so happy with how it turned out. Definitely my favorite space in the castle by far. And again, really why I wanted to make sure that I had the full room to be able to do something like that. So if you go around to the right, so you have this door here, which is the entrance to her room. You go around to the left, rather, excuse me. There is two archways here where you can kind of pass through and enter to her living space. So this is the functional cauldron that I had mentioned earlier. As you can see, Maleficent is currently making mac and cheese, no surprise. And on the other side, you have another area where you can sit in front of a fireplace that is outside of the bedroom. This poster is here by default, this vampire's mural, but I will actually be replacing it with a custom Maleficent portrait that will probably be painted of her like wearing custom content and all of that. That is something that will end up exclusive to like the Disney save file and not the gallery version. And then off of the living room, we have the dining room with this long sort of corridor looking, it's very like dead and lonely in here, and that was kind of the intention. There's no extra chairs. It's just the one chair at the end of the table, the mirrors to sort of like highlight how long and big the room is, to again like shout out to the reference that she is like very much alone and prefers it that way. It's not really a sad thing for her. Like she very much likes her castle to be alone. Now if you go around this circle all the way around, there is 3 doors here. There's an archway and there are 2 doors off to either side. This is the kitchen off to the right. Very simple, lots and lots of cupboards. I did not picture Maleficent using this very much at all. This is for servants, but for the most part, she would be able to spell cast her food and her drinks. Like she's not going to be in here very much, but I wanted to make sure that it was here just in case. And the other one is the bathroom, which again, you can sort of choose how much you want to actually use this, but it's a platform bathroom with like a solitary tub, very expansive, very unnecessary, not much on the decor, and there is some sort of glitch into the basement, not sure. The Sims be the Sims. Now this archway goes down to the dungeon, which is our final stop on this castle tour today. There's not much to say about the dungeon. There's not too much to say about the dungeon. The reason that it was included is because it is shown in the movie that Prince Philip is obviously being held captive by Maleficent, and you do get to see what his dungeon looks like, what his dungeon room looks like. So in Sleeping Beauty, they are like stone rooms, no bars, no anything like that, with just like seats and chains to the wall. So it was very, very simple, but I wanted to include a dungeon somewhere in the save, and this being like version 1 of Forgotten Hollow. If you don't know, I will be doing a second version We are going to take a break and work on Mount Komorebi, but I will be coming back to Forgotten Hollow for a version 2 of the Disney save, is basically what it's being shaped up to be. So there are 6 dungeons down here. It is of varying size. There's about 2 areas per 2, like, I don't know what you would want to call those, benches. I actually found out that these are in fact not benches according to Twitch, which my lovely viewers on Twitch were able to correct me on and let me know that yeah, these are not benches. So I will be replacing those with benches, but the idea was that it would be dark, dreary, you would maybe be able to keep a sim alive or two, so they would have the benches to nap and the broken down handmade kind of toilet to use if need be, and they're all exactly the same. The only difference is maybe just this shape slightly and like which direction they're facing, and they have real functional doors on them, so you're able to lock them, versus the Horn King's castle where I made a dungeon, but it was mostly just for show, and there weren't actually doors on the dungeon cells, which did make it sort of unfunctional. And that is basically going to be Maleficent's castle. Couple of extra rooms that weren't included in the speed build for those of you who were interested in them. I hope you guys enjoyed. This will be available on the gallery as soon as I get maybe 2 seconds to playtest it. A couple of you have asked for it, and I am really sorry, but it's just going to take me a while to playtest and everything, and Christmas and everything. You guys know how it is. So if you want to watch me live speed build in The Sims, and we are going to be working again on Mount Komorebi very soon. Actually, if you were already following me on Twitch last Friday, I did start Oaken's sauna from Frozen, and we had a grand old time last Friday starting out that build. So if you'd like to come watch me live speed build over on twitch.tv/TomilynYT with 2 N's, that is linked down below in my description box. Come and hang out, follow me, make sure you turn notifications on so that you can see when I go live, and you can come and join me on speed building. I also do create a sim over there so that I can get your guys' feedback and input on Disney Save Sims. In fact, we just made Maleficent recently, and I think she turned out 10 out of 10, and it was truly because of Twitch. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in my description box down below, or the one at the end of the video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Mount Komorebi builds as soon as possible. I have some Forgotten Hollow townies first, and then we're going to be moving on. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Hit that bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I vote, and I will talk to you all in the next one.